All right. So for today, it is leg day. So we're doing squats, calf raises, goblet squats, and single leg deadlifts. Sounds like a plan. Synchronize our walking.
Howdy y'all, welcome back to the ranch, or if it's your first time, a normal welcome. This video is episode 2 in my series where I review and comment on the 11th season of My 600 Pound Life as it airs. These will all be your dedicated playlist. The story you're looking at today is of Latonia Cotain, a 37-year-old woman in Louisiana. Just a warning that this episode starts in sad. If you were hoping for some cheer, it ain't here. She actually met Dr. Now a while back, but never followed through with the program, but now she's trying again. She's mainly wheelchair bound, but she has a caretaker. The walking she can do is very minimal, and the first thing she talks about is how much pain she's in all the time. A strong testament to the true addiction that can be food
There you go.
is her saying she promised herself she'd never be big enough to need a wheelchair, but she is. Now, I have heard that they kind of play up what people eat on the show in a single go. Whether they do or not, I don't think really matters because either way, there is a lot of food involved. And her breakfast, which by the way, is handed to her in bed, which is absolutely insane. I don't understand how someone whose job it is to be a caregiver would be fine with handing this amount of food to someone whose fat is literally disabling them. So, she has, from my counting, 6 Eggo waffles, 10 or 11 biscuits, an entire plate, like a saucer plate, of scrambled eggs with cheese, a big bowl of grits, a bowl of something else that I couldn't tell. It might be gravy for the biscuits, about half a package of bacon, and about 8 or 9 of sausage patties, all washed down with some juice. We then learn she eats about 6 times a day, and I imagine the meals are just as large. Also, side note, they picked the most god awful angles for their show, like the camera is basically on the ground. Now, Latanya has had a really troubled life. Her mother died when she was just 12, and she unfortunately was the one who found her mother's body. That is a trauma that is incomprehensible. She had a brother who died as well, and her father wasn't emotionally available at all. She pretty much just felt alone her whole childhood. So much so that she had her own apartment at 15 years old. I was
Right.
15 years old like 11 years ago, and I
Two
can't imagine
down,
having that responsibility
two to
because
go.
of this loneliness. She fully admits to using food for comfort. Trauma and isolation make a very good environment for unhealthy coping mechanisms. If you watch the show long enough, you can see a theme of people who got injuries and then were just never the same afterwards. Latonia is no different. She faced a knee surgery and was demobilized to heal. But she says that the moment she got in that electric wheelchair, it was like she never got back up. This is another aspect of weight that I think is overlooked, that an injury can become a disabling one if your weight is high enough or even low enough. Then it becomes easy for people to use their lack of mobility as a reason they can't get healthier, when in reality just changing the food habits would be a great start. There's a fiance, by the way. He met Latonia's cousin while in prison, and he is someone who loves bigger women, so naturally, the cousin hooked him up with her. Now, this guy is skinny, and whenever I see super morbidly obese people with someone thin that isn't doing anything to help the other person get healthier, it raises up fears and red flags. Now, I honestly couldn't tell if that was the case in this episode. The fiance actually seems pretty on board with her weight loss, but I figured I'd mention it. Something that blew my mind is that they let her drive. She can barely fit in the car, and she's basically driving with her toe while being handed food to eat while driving. I can't imagine this being safe. There's two men with her, and maybe they don't have a license, but it was wild to see her drive instead of them. She doesn't even have a seatbelt on because I guess they don't have an extender. So the beeping of the seatbelt light was going off during the entire driving scenes. And at her first doctor's appointment with Dr. Now, we learned that her weight is, drumroll please, 632 pounds. And she literally says that it, quote, could have been worse, which is what the last patient said in the first episode. It's like a law in 600-pound life that you gotta dismiss your weight just a little bit to feel more comfortable. When she was at the doctor like 4 or 5 years ago, but after the program, she weighed in the 400-pound range. So, in just 4 or 5 years, she has gained over 200 pounds. That is bananas to me. And not in a me being an ass kind of way, but in a I can't believe that's even possible kind of way. The human body is magnificent.
Hey,
In this
y'all,
doctor's
want to go?
visit, she seems ready to make changes and she is doing better food wise, but the personal trainer she is assigned to believes that she is not doing the exercises while the trainer isn't there, which is a red flag. She also eats fried fish in french fries, and the caregiver exposes her for cheating on the diet plan, but excuses it, and is usually the one making the food too. She thinks it's fine that Latonia has cheat days and that it's needed. It's not when you're in the position she is, a desperate one. So, more red flags about her dedication and about the people around her who claim to be supporting her and want what's best for her. At the doctor's appointment, she weighs in at 636 pounds. So the red flags added up to her gaining 4 pounds in a month instead of losing 40 pounds that she was assigned. She instantly deflects by saying she tried so hard, she did what she was supposed to, she should have lost weight, etc. Which is a very common thing for a lot of people on diets that aren't losing weight. It really comes down to the calories are not being counted properly. The only saving grace is that she admits she needed to try harder, which just makes her previous statement more confusing. While she states this, though, she continues to say she's not a robot, it's too hard, excuse after excuse. The answers you would expect from someone struggling with a food addiction who isn't ready to change. This is where I have an issue with the show. I think that psychotherapy should be required from the very start and not offered only when people fail at weight loss. She eventually sees Dr. Paradise, who is my favorite person in this entire series, just so you know. And while they talk about some of her traumas, she ends up calling the appointment a quote, waste of time.
Rest.
She at least takes up the suggestion of journaling, so there's the positive. I think for a lot of people, though, who first go to therapy, it can feel like a waste of time. It's one of those things that has to be built up on. It's not like you have one meeting and have all the answers to your problems. Another theme on the show is patients having a lot of pain and going into the hospital thinking they have blood clots but are fine. Obviously, besides the weight issue. Latonia follows this, and Dr. Now checks her out and says it's the whole being 600-pound thing that is making her legs hurt so bad. It makes me wonder how many people have faltered that focus by saying that her pain is due to the weight. One test that came back with an issue was her heart. It is struggling to pump blood through her body. Not only that, but she had gained more weight in between the last visit and this hospital stay. Due to these heart issues and her climbing weight, she gets admitted to the hospital for a few weeks. Latonia says she wants to stay to lose weight and then get surgery and then go home. So literally everyone doing everything for her. Control portions, physical therapy, then surgery. She doesn't have to decide or take responsibility if she isn't making the choices. Latonia has a mantra. I've been trying so hard. And I'm sure she has tried, but I think it's clear that she easily excuses herself when things get too difficult. She doesn't let the physical therapy team or the dietitians at the hospital help her. She complains about being too tired or in pain, and the food isn't good enough. Basically, just shutting down all the help that is being handed to her. This is so frustrating because I'm sure there are plenty of people in her position who would be a lot more receptive to this help, and she is just wasting it. When she leaves the hospital, she makes some good changes from what I saw, like spending time outside and cooking herself, but she is heavily relying on her wheelchair and doesn't seem interested in working on walking, which that tracks with her refusal of physical therapy in the hospital.
Alright,
A lot of
time
people
for
in this show who are
calf
mostly
raises.
wheelchair bound tend to be very hesitant about working on walking. I'm sure it's very scary, but again, these people are provided with top-notch physical therapists who are trained to help people become mobile again. At the last hospital visit in the show, Latonia was meant to lose 60 pounds in the past 2 months. She weighs in at 599, meaning she gained 5 pounds since she lost weight at the hospital when she was inpatient.
And
And
down.
once again, she doesn't get why that has happened. She thinks the scale is wrong, or it's her lymphedema. Basically, anything other than her own choices. Her lack of accountability and responsibility leads Dr. Now to drop her as a patient. He says she can make an appointment when she has lost weight and has made some changes. We see her inability to recognize her role in her weight when she says she understands Dr. Now dropping her because she gained weight and takes the blame for it. But then she starts listing out these things like stress, depression, and finances to excuse it. And I'm very aware that stress and depression can cause eating issues, that cause weight issues, but she's almost at 600 pounds, and that isn't from some slight overeating. The finances thing makes even less sense because the amount of food they buy at the store is easily in the $300 range for one trip that is feeding two people. If money was the main issue here, she would have saved a lot by not purchasing mountains of frozen pizza, soda boxes, candy, ice cream, etc. With all her deflection, I honestly don't find it plausible that she will ever truly get on track with recovering from her food addiction. So, obviously, this episode ended a lot differently than the last two patients who both succeeded in their weight loss and surgery journey. Sometimes the patients who flop are the most entertaining because there is more drama between the patient and Dr. Now, and Dr. Now has really funny one-liners. But at the end of the day, it's just depressing to see.
Two
I
down,
truly
two to
do
go.
hope she kicks herself in the butt a little and starts taking advantage of all the time and opportunity she has to change her lifestyle. She isn't old. 39 isn't old. She has a lot of life she has left to live. And just like any other addiction, watching people throw away that potential life is absolutely heartbreaking, even when it is the person's own fault. That is it for this episode, guys. If you enjoyed this, I will be posting a weekly review and releasing commentary about other things like my normal videos. So let me know your thoughts on Latonia's journey, her story. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you all soon. Hopefully, the next episode of 600 Pound Life is a bit happier.
So the outfit is a movement that you typically associate with advanced calisthenics. You see people go from these beautiful V6 into press handstands. I'm not quite there yet, but that's kind of my point. I think that the outfit is something that everyone should be doing, whether you're interested in getting abs or you just want to improve your general performance and your mobility. This is a great movement. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Stick around until the end of the video to learn more about a deal they're making available through my channel. Kratos is the god of war. He's super strong, he has super endurance, but he remains incredibly agile. When it comes to training programs like this, though, a lot of people are interested in performing like the character I'm discussing, but a lot of people want to look like it. So in this video, I thought, why not have the both? In this case, function is going to follow form. We're going to train in a way that allows us to not only look like Kratos, but also perform like it. Because as you'll find out, the two actually go hand in hand.
3 down, 1 to go.
In the game, it's actually canon that Kratos lifts heavy weight in order to build his physique. Obviously, if you've got super strength, then he doesn't need to have a massive physique because it's kind of like godly power. Jack Spade actually did a cool video on this. What we're going to be using is, we're going to be borrowing some ideas from power building. Power building is a form of training that, as the name might suggest, combines powerlifting with bodybuilding. The way you do this, you lift extremely heavy weights using the main powerlifting move, the big three, at the start of your workout. Then as you move on, you shift towards more isolation work, higher rep ranges, slightly lighter weights. That way, you're getting the strength building and the hypertrophy within a single workout. We're getting the strength of Kratos, and we're also getting the look of Kratos.
Alright, last set.
But the thing is, the bodybuilding isn't just about aesthetics. The bodybuilding also provides the extra function of performance. The reason for this is that bodybuilding uses those higher rep ranges, which are actually perfect for training strength endurance. Because we know, if you want functional strength, it's not about how much you can lift once, it's about being able to reproduce that strength over and over. If you're a wrestler, you need to be strong for the entire battle. If you're moving things as part of your job, you need to be able to be strong for the whole working day. So it's not good enough just to be strong once. And this is where bodybuilding comes in. By combining those things into a single training program, actually provides better all-round performance, makes you more like Kratos. At the same time, bodybuilding and higher reps are fantastic for blood supply, for creating more blood vessels to the muscle. You actually create new blood vessels which supply the muscle, aiding with recovery and increasing that strength endurance. At the same time, you're strengthening the tendons and the bones. This is one of the reasons that when people switch from bodybuilding to powerlifting, historically they actually have particularly good success in this area. Bodybuilding isn't just about aesthetics, it builds functional performance, and when you combine it with powerlifting and strength training, the results can be fantastic. Of course, this being the Pioneer channel, we're going to do things slightly differently because Kratos needs functional strength. He's fighting massive creatures, he's swinging his Leviathan axe around. We need to build functional strength. So what we're going to do is swap out some of those bodybuilding moves, some of those powerlifting moves, for more functional alternatives. By the term functional, I'm not saying powerlifting is functional, I'm just saying we're going to use the more traditional functional tools. For example, the heavy hammer weights I'm using here, logs and branches and things that we find in the woods. This way, we're building multi-planar strength, grip strength, learning to grip onto things that are awkward in shape. We're combining this with high rep ranges to build that strength endurance, as well as heavier weights to build power at every angle. Take a look at this Thor's hammer kettlebell. Obviously, wrong god. They didn't have an axe. It's a bit of a gimmick, but at the same time, something like this puts the weight so offset from the handle, creating a lever arm, creating momentum as you swing it and move it, and it's so much different from picking up something that wants to cooperate. You have to grip hard onto the handle here, which makes it great for training grip. It's perfect for farmers' walks, for swings in the transverse plane, do so much of it, and that makes it perfect for building strength and endurance in a very functional manner. So we're going to swap out some of the bodybuilding moves for stuff like that. And then at the same time, instead of lifting heavy weights in the gym, you can push a car, you can lift a heavy log, and even press a friend overhead.
One down, 3 to go.
Something like that, something like a sandbag, weighted animal. This video is brought to you by NordVPN. So it's that time of year again when people are going to be writing new goals, starting new training programs, etc. But wouldn't it be cool if instead of following a cookie cutter workout, you instead came up with your whole own training style? I believe that by drawing from a massive pool of different training styles and picking what works for you, you can create something completely unique and perfectly customized to you and your goals. And as an added bonus, it's going to be something that you actively enjoy doing. Obviously, this is something that not a lot of people are going to know how to do if they're starting out in training. And so that's the purpose of this video. Here, we're going to learn how to create your own training style, something that you're really going to stick with so you can properly kick ass in 2023. So the first thing you're going to want to do is sit down and write out your goals. What is it you hope to achieve from your training program? There's lots of different things you can put here. It could be that you want to look better, so aesthetics. Maybe you want to be stronger. Maybe you want to be more athletic, whether that means more explosive or whether you want to improve your endurance. You might just want to move better. You might want to prevent some of the downsides of aging, or you might have any other number of goals. What I'd say is don't just put down one goal, put down as many as you want, because there's no reason you have to choose just one outcome for your training. I think this is a common misconception. A lot of people think, for example, you can't train for max strength and aesthetics, for instance. However, power builders would beg to differ. So write down what you want and perhaps try and grade them in terms of what's more important to you. Do you really want to be massively strong and you kind of want a bit of endurance as well? Or are these things about equal footing? My car's cold, so I've had to come here to Kidden to drop it off. I'm trying to find some spots to do some filming and found it now, so that's cool. From there, what you're going to do is look for a kind of basic training style, the one that matches most of your goals. So, for example, if you're more interested in building strength, then you might start with a powerlifting program. If you Hey, what's up guys, welcome to this video. So it's been a while since I made any content on this channel, specifically my type of content. So I'm back today with a video about the hollow body, or what is sometimes referred to as the dish position. Now this is a fundamental position that acts as a really strong foundation to many other disciplines that can kind of stem from that, and it creates a firm sense of stability and balance. So the way the video is going to work is I'm going to start by explaining the benefits of the hollow body and how that translates to specific activities and disciplines that you might be training in. Next, I'm going to demonstrate the correct technique and show you some exercises of how you can improve strength in this area. High performance in most sports and athletic endeavours depend on strong and stable core muscles. Working in the hollow body position can act as a kind of blanket exercise that will benefit all of the disciplines that you wish to train in thereafter. To start with the basics, it goes without saying that the hollow body builds a strong core overall, but it also trains the tremendous abdominis, which are the deepest abdominal muscles sitting between the ribs and the pelvis, and it essentially tightens this area up, as opposed to having that kind of bloated turkey shell belly that you often see. Now this has both a practical as well as aesthetic function, as we're going to explore in this video. But one of the most important things about having hollow body strength is it greatly contributes to things like prevention of injury to the back due to the engagement of the rectus abdominis, resulting in what's known as anti-extension, meaning the use of the flexion muscles to prevent extension, which can be very dangerous when lifting something heavy. As you'll know if you've seen any of my previous content, I'm a martial arts practitioner, and core strength and stability is perhaps the most important element in striking prowess, namely correctly utilising the kinetic linking principle, in which power is generated first in the legs, then travels up through the body, twists through the hips, then goes to the back, chest and shoulders, and then finally down the arms to the strike, multiplying that momentum through all the leverage of the previous parts and discharging the energy into the target. It's also vital for grapplers as well, and that they need to maintain strength in the core while in motion, maintaining stability in one area while simultaneously providing motion in others. In striking specifically, if the core muscles are not strong enough to contain and transmute that energy into the strike afterwards, then it's going to be greatly compromised, especially when striking against something with a considerable weight to it. Think the body in this scenario like a vessel for containing water. If there's a hole in the vessel, then the total pressure is going to be less than it would be if the vessel was intact.
It becomes evident when a martial artist has an underdeveloped core because they aren't able to apply their full force and speed into a strike, and it falls apart somewhere in the middle. Conversely, when somebody has really refined their striking technique and combine that with a strong, stable, and developed core, the strikes take on a whole new dimension. And striking is just one element that's improved. General movement speed will also be increased, particularly the ability to change direction quickly and move in and out of range, as well as strike at unusual angles. Something I practice alongside my basic martial arts skills is the sport of tricking, which is essentially kind of an acrobatic form of martial arts expression. Having that hollow body strength is vital here in having sharp, controlled, and explosive movements. And similar to this, along those same lines, other disciplines that require hollow body strength as a staple are gymnastics, calisthenics, and pretty much any form of acrobatics. It's used in things like handstand holds, as well as advanced skills such as the planche that rely heavily on hollow body strength, and also skills such as the L-sit and more advanced V-sit require some greater hollow body strength and act as yet another way to improve strength in this position. Now, before we go on to discussing the correct hollow body technique, it's important to mention that simply the act of engaging in your chosen activity or discipline will build strength in the area through muscle adaptation, but having a structured program utilising hollow body training will act as a force multiplier, improving the skills and techniques that you've already developed.
Hey guys, it's me again. So here's what happened. I actually committed myself to a huge number of videos this month, and I woke up on Monday with a swollen, infected saliva gland, which was disgusting. That's when Grant kindly stepped in and offered to take the reins on this one for me. He's doing a fantastic job, as ever. I'm here again now, though, and feeling healthy. Tell you about today's sponsor, Fabulous. The number one self-care app for creating your ideal daily routine and accomplishing your goals. So Fabulous basically is a habit tracking app. So what you do is you input your ideal daily routine, the habits you want to follow, and Fabulous will track these for you, track your progress, provide you with reminders and tips to help you keep going. For example, if you want to start doing hollow body on a daily basis, then Fabulous is a great way to ensure you commit to that. This would be an amazing way, holding hollow body for 1 to 2 minutes a day, to really improve your core and your general fitness and health. You also get a curated journey created by experts, which essentially introduce you to new lifestyle habits and traits like Batman. I'm going to instead imagine that Bruce Wayne is a real person with a specific set of skills that he needs to develop and maintain, all with an extremely busy schedule. What's really interesting to me about Batman is that he shows how multiple skills and tools are better than just one. It seems to me that a lot of people are low-key training to be better fighters. These are not competitive boxers, but regular folk who still feel an underlying pressure to be tough, in quotation marks. To many people, the reason to lift heavy weights is so that they can use that strength in a fight. Of course, this is missing the point that technique is more important than raw strength when it comes to punching power. And more to the point, fighting is not the only expression of strength and fitness. I much prefer George Herbert's notion of being strong to be useful. I get more confidence knowing that if I need to run away from danger, I could do so quickly and without tiring. Or I could climb over obstacles or lift another person over their shoulders and help them get to safety. These same skills help you to get places quickly, help people move furniture, and focus on work, which is why Batman training is something that everyone should concern themselves with. Batman, and in fact any action hero, really epitomise this idea. When you see Batman take on a gang of thugs or chase Catwoman across rooftops, what are just as impressive as his fighting prowess are his parkour, proprioception, stealth, strategy, reflexes, quick decision-making, and cardio. The biggest challenge most people face when trying to be Batman for real would be getting tired out almost instantly, or getting knocked out with a single punch, or jumping from a height and twisting an ankle, or being really cold on top of a building and getting a headache. This is why lifting heavy weights won't make you Batman, and focusing on being tough is often just an ego trip. Trying to be Batman obviously isn't an ego trip. Functional coaches tend to choose exercises based on specificity. These are exercises that either resemble the movement the individual is training for, or that utilize and strengthen specific muscle groups and underlying traits used in those actions. This means the exercises should have near transfer. If you want to get better at chopping wood, it's no good to perform bench press and squats. Instead, you need something that is similarly ballistic, but is simultaneously a pull and a push, and that incorporates a twisting element, the Serape effect. Such exercises will train the body in the transverse plane, meaning they incorporate twisting, and this will build stronger, more explosive serratus muscles.
Now, when to go.
So what are the skills and traits that Batman training should address? Work capacity. Batman needs to maintain high power output for a long duration. Strength endurance is as important, if not more important, than maximum strength. Cardio. Batman runs a lot while wearing a lot of armor. Running, jumping, and climbing. Batman needs parkour skills. Batman's strength must be relative to his weight. Throwing and aim. Batman needs to train his throwing arm for hurling batarangs. He also needs precise aim, and so likely he should train his senses. Max strength. Whether lifting a heavy barrel, grappling an opponent, or lifting open a door, Batman definitely needs some max strength. What's important is that his strength is developed on all planes. Flotation is as important, if not more important,
Are you done
than strength
with
in separate planes. Hardened bones produce injury. Psychomotor vigilance. Batman needs to be sharp, focused, even after a long night of chasing bad guys, and equilibrioception balance. Batman needs body awareness when balancing on beams or fighting multiple combatants. Explosiveness as it relates to jumping and throwing punches. Neck strength. This may seem oddly specific, but it's important to reduce concussions and can even aid visual tracking thanks to the link between the neck and the senses. Grip strength. Whether climbing or holding onto an assailant, grip strength is crucial. Stability. Batman needs stability in hips, knees, and core to prevent injury and enhances grappling and running. Rapid decision making. Mental toughness in spades. There are many more traits and skills that Batman can benefit from too, but which should be considered less important. Things like mobility. Batman doesn't need to be able to get his leg behind his head, but a certain amount of mobility will aid in combat, climbing, and injury prevention. I also strongly believe that Batman could benefit from being ambidextrous. With all that in mind, let's now select some exercises for Batman based on the specificity principle. Slip, push or pull, rope climbing, medicine ball rotational throw or sledgehammer, medicine ball slam, kettlebell swings, muscle ups,
Yeah.
atlas swing, rock climbing, tire flipping, sandbag snatch, band pull and push, bodyweight rows, military press, lizard
What?
hold, skipping, loaded carries, isometric, neck
It's alright,
pushing,
just take off.
ab roller, bench rows, hill
Yeah,
sprints,
what do you need?
100 up, rocking, weighted squat jumps, high rep push-ups, pull-ups, squats, V-ups and burpees, and heavy squat.
If it's about the kids, I don't know.
Lateral jumps,
What is it?
renegade rows, long distance running, trail running, heavy bag training, and battle ropes. This is by no means a comprehensive list, but it's certainly a good starting point. So how would we possibly go about programming?
You shouldn't have started if you didn't have all these agreements. So I'm not gonna drive all the way there, then back. Now I have to go pick her up from work, drive all the way there, and back.
People accuse me of having no life. Me, the guy talking about Batman on YouTube. Well, firstly, no one has a life right now, so I don't know what you're so smug about.
Alright.
Secondly, I still have plenty of time for Doom Eternal,
Alright.
and my family comes to think of it. In all seriousness, I only train for around 4 to 6 hours a week, and I take whole weeks off regularly. Nobody would accuse me of not having any of
Day
those
12 done.
and taking it easy. I was at businesses and I'm a full-time dad. This
Looks like starting on day 13, they're gonna kick it up a notch. Instead of 4 exercise, it's 5 now. So it's about to get rough. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.
This is similar in structure to a power building routine. This way you can train every type of touch muscle fiber